Hello everyone. Today I'll be covering the Odyssey, the complete novel by Homer in a very short, crisp manner. I'll be covering everything right from the characters, chapter wise summary, as well as the themes and important quotes that you have to learn or you may remember for the reference to context. Without wasting any minute, let's begin. So, first of all, the characters in the Odyssey. Odysseus, that is the protagonist of the play and the king of Ithaca, he's known for his intelligence, cunningness, as well as he faces numerous challenges while trying to return home from the Trojan War. What you all need to remember here is the key words like Ithaca, his the adverbs that you may use to describe him, his intelligence, cunningness, as well as the war name of war is very important here, the Trojan War, right? Next character is Penelope, Odysseus' faithful wife. She is who cleverly wards off suitors during his absence. So we'll be seeing that how much loyal to she is towards Odysseus in this novel, right? Telemachus, the Odysseus' young son, who grows into maturity while searching for his father. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, who aids Odysseus and Telemachus throughout their journeys. So she is the goddess who will be aiding and helping Odysseus as well as Telemachus throughout their journeys. And Poseidon, the god of the sea, and Odysseus' antagonist. Antagonist is the villain of the play, right? He's angry because Odysseus has blinded his son Polyphemus. So I'll be unfolding novels shortly, but there are a lot many characters in Odyssey. I've tried to cover the important ones in very short details as well so that you remember them, right? Next in line is Zeus. Zeus is a god who will be occasionally helping Odysseus with the help of Athena or at the request of Athena. Polyphemus, I already told you, he's the son of Poseidon, who the Cyclops who traps Odysseus. Now, during one voyage, when Odysseus gets trapped and he tries to rescue his men and himself, he blinds Polyphemus, because of which who takes the revenge on him? Poseidon, who's also the god of the sea. Remember that. A Calypso. He's a nymph who helps Odysseus on her island. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. She is a nymph that helps Odysseus on her island for several years. So Calypso also plays a important segment in this novel because there's an episode of Calypso and these Polyphemus that you need to remember for short answers questions. Like 10 markers are framed especially in examinations that describe this incident, right? Cyrus, he's a sorceress. Sorceress is basically a monster-like figure who transforms Odysseus' men into pigs, but later he helps him. Right? Now, the suitors, there are a group of men who are waiting for Penelope's hand and they're exploiting Odysseus' household like anything because Odysseus isn't present there physically, so they are exploiting his household like anything, right? Now there is a detailed summary of Odysseus, and I've made it chapter wise so that you also remember the incidents. The Odysseus by Homer, it is an epic poem. Now people always ask why, how come it is a poem, it is so long? But earlier in that time there were forms of poetry that were so lengthy and they weren't like any, they didn't follow any rhyming scheme and anything like that. So you need to remember it's not a novel, it's a poem. If I've previously said you novel, sorry, that was my mistake, but it's a poem, right? About Odysseus' journey home after the Trojan War and the struggles he faces along the way. Now, Telemachus' search for his father. Book 1 and 4, the novel opens with Telemachus' searches for his father. Okay? The story begins in Ithaca. You need to know the setting of the story. It begins in Ithaca, where Odysseus has been missing for 20 years. For how long he has been missing. His place is overrun by suitors courting Penelope. Athena, disguised as mentor, okay, advises Telemachus to search for his father. Telemachus visits where Nestor in Pylos and Menelaus in Sparta, learning about Odysseus' exploits but finding no concrete news. I know there are a lot many things that you need to remember in it, but I can't help it. I'll try to make things simplified for you. Just go through this PDF itself one or two times. You'll remember the things. So what is it? Athena. I have already told. She's the goddess. Where is the setting of the story? In Ithaca. For how long he has been missing? For 20 years. Where has he gone? To the Trojan War. And how is Athena disguised? Because goddess can't appear in front of you in the mortal being. She has been disguised in the form of mentor. And Telemachus is searching for his father. He is visiting Nestor in Pylos and Menelaus in Sparta, learning about Odysseus' exploits, but he has not been able to find any concrete news as of now. Odysseus leaves Calypso's island. Okay, book 5 and 8 are running in parallel where Odysseus has left the Calypso's island. On Mount Olympus, again the place you need to remember, Athena persuades Zeus to order Odysseus' release. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे Athena has persuaded whom? Zeus to order Odysseus' release. Hermes, Hermes delivers the message to Calypso, who reluctantly lets Odysseus go. After building a raft, the Odysseus sails away but is shipwrecked by Poseidon. Poseidon is who I've told you, the god of sea. He washes ashore in Syria, the land of Phaeacians. King Alcestis and Princess Nausicaa welcomed him, and the Odysseus begins narrating his adventures. I'm sorry for the pronunciation because these are not the names in English, traditional English, so I might pronounce it incorrectly, but spare me for that. What I mean here is I hope you're getting my meaning more than the literal pronunciation, right? Because you all need to write it. I'm sorry, I'll try working on it. So Athena has basically persuaded Zeus to order Odysseus' release. Okay, we know that Athena will time and again be coming into the novel and asking for Odysseus' release, right? So Hermes delivers the message to Calypso, who reluctantly lets Odysseus go after building a raft. Odysseus sails away, but he is soon shipwrecked by Poseidon. Poseidon, the god of sea. He washes ashore in Syria, the land of Phaeacians. King Alcestis and Princess Nausicaa welcome him, and Odysseus begins his adventures. Now, this is the point when the story will be traveling back to the flashback and we'll be knowing more about him, right? Now, Odysseus his adventures. Now Odysseus recounts his journey. Okay. Now first is the lotus eaters that he'll be coming across. After leaving Troy, Odysseus raids the Cicons but suffers heavy losses. On another island, his men eat the lotus fruit. It's the forgotten fruit. Now this can be seen like a biblical illusion in which Adam and Eve, they were refused to eat the forgotten fruit, the forbidden fruit. Okay, now this is just to add a taste to your answer. Your answer needs parallel books and comparisons so that people think that you're actually inquisitive about knowing more, right? So he eats lotus, forgetting their homes, but Odysseus rescues him. Polyphemus, they enter the cave of Polyphemus, a cyclops. Odysseus blinds him to escape but angers Poseidon by revealing his name. So, what happens in it is like Odysseus is captured by Polyphemus and his men are trapped. They are trapped in a cave, and Polyphemus is a strong kind of a monster. But what happens? Odysseus is smart enough to escape out of it. He blinds Polyphemus in his eyes, and when Polyphemus asks that who has done it, now Odysseus has become hubris. Hubris is a term that tells that one is has a lot of pride. Hubris, you should use this term in your answers. I would recommend it, that he gets hubris and he tells his name, but that is the biggest turning point in this poem. Why so? Because Poseidon is has become aware of his name, and now he'll be taking revenge on him by sending him not by sending him way back to his home on in a very tedious journey, and perhaps he wants to even kill him. right? Now, next in line is the oldest. It's the wind god who gives Odysseus a bag of winds. It's basically to help him. His men open it, causing a storm, and later they are attacked by a cannibalistic, ठीक है, Laristogonians. ठीक है. What happens is Oleus tries to help him and he gives him the sacred wind kind of a thing, which helps him return back to his journey. But the men of Odysseus, they are very mischievous. They try to open it in inquisitiveness, and what happens is a shipwreck and causing storm, and he's again attacked by the cannibals, right? Now, on Circe, on AIA, it's another land. Circe turns Odysseus' men into pigs, but reverses spell after he confronts her. They stay for a year. Now, you need to know that they are staying in that particular place for a year before she directs him to the underworld. Now, the underworld is another important, significant thing. Whatever I have written in points, I'll try to take up short questions for them because these are very significant events. But I wanted to cover a summary first so that you know everything in line rather than covering everything in detail and making it longer for you and tougher for you to remember it. Now, Odysseus consults the prophet Tiresias. Now, this prophet will be again repeated in William Shakespeare's novels. Okay, you'll again come across through it. So you need to remember these significant things for your other semesters. In semester 2 also you'll be hearing this thing. Who warns him not to harm Helios' cattle and foretells his return. He meets the spirits of his mother and fallen comrades. So it's the warning here is the Helios cattle that they don't have to meet, right? And again the people will be so hungry they'll be eating Helios cattle and they'll get punished for sure, right? Now, Seren, Cycla, and Charybdis. So these are the tough names that you need to just remember the names. Siren, Cycala, Charybdis. Odysseus avoids the siren song by plugging his crew's ear. He navigates between Scylla, a six-headed monster, and Charybdis, a deadly whirlpool, losing some men. So what happens here is, now she is so beautiful of a monster that she plays songs that tunes him to listen to him. What happens is, I'll tell you कि जो सायरन का सॉन्ग था वो इतना अच्छा था कि कोई भी सेलर मंत्रमुग्ध बोलते हैं जिसे, they get lost to her beautiful tunes, and what happens, they get mesmerized towards that monster whatever she is. तो इसने बोला कि मुझे वो गाना तो सुनना है, लेकिन इसने बोला कि मैं अपने पूरे क्रू के ईयर में वो ईयर प्लग्स लगा दूंगा दैट no one will able to hear it, only I will be able to hear it. And what does he do, he ties himself, he asks his crew to tie himself, ठीक है. एंड क्या बोला कि अगर मुझे, मैं बोलूँ भी तुम्हें कि मुझे खोल देना उसका गाना सुन के, आई एम सो मेस्मराइज, तब भी मुझे मत खोलना. तो क्या हुआ, क्रू तो सुन ही नहीं पाएगा ना, इसने गाना भी सुन लिया और ये मेस्मराइज तो हुआ लेकिन ये जा नहीं पाया बिकॉज ही वॉज टाइट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इन लाइन इज हिलियस आइलैंड. डिस्पाइट वार्निंग्स his men kill Helios' sacred cattle. I told you what will happen. His men will kill Helios' sacred cattle, and Zeus punishes them with a storm, killing everyone except Odysseus. Now Odysseus is left all alone. All his men are killed because his sacred cattle. His men kills the sacred cattle because they were hungry. There were a lot of warnings, but they were hungry. Therefore, Zeus, who punishes this time for the first time, Zeus punishes, right? Now we'll be coming to book 13 and 16. Now Odysseus is in Ithaca. Odysseus arrives in Ithaca with Phaeacians' help, disguised as a beggar by Athena. Now what happens here is, it's cut short. I'll tell you really what happens is, उसने king को अपनी पूरी narration बताया. King helped him reach to Ithaca, ठीक है, and now he wants to test कि मेरे पीछे पीछे who is loyal and who proved disloyal. He is again disguised as a beggar by Athena, and he meets his loyal servant. Okay, and who is he? He is a swineherd. Okay, swine, pig, right? Telemachus returns from Sparta. He had been looking for his father, and the father and son finally they reunite. Although he's disguised as a beggar, but he sees that his son has been proving his mettle all throughout his 20 years. Therefore, he reveals to his son, and the father and the son they have a very tearful reunite. Okay, and together they plot to defeat the suitors as well. Now, Odysseus is in the palace. Now, Odysseus is finally in the palace. He enters his palace disguised as a beggar. He observes the suitors' behavior, noting their arrogance. Now, he feels that these people, these suitors, are really arrogant. And he's still disguised. Don't forget that fact. Penelope remains loyal. She is a very loyal wife, but she is still struggling with despair because she has that sorrow whether her husband will return or not. It's been 20 years and she has been waiting just for him. She announces a contest. Whoever can string Odysseus' bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axes will win her hand. Now, although she doesn't want to marry any of them, but she wants to get rid of them. So, what does she do? She announces that whoever ties a string in Odysseus' bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axes, there are 12 axes placed. Whoever shoots straight into those 12 axes, they will be winning her hand and ultimately marrying her. Now, doesn't it remind you quite of your Ramayana when Ramji put that string on that bow of Shivji? Now, every classical is somewhat linked. You feel it's tough because we are reading it for the first time. If you break down these points, you'll find it very interesting. Only thing is, you need to remember some names. Don't worry, I'll be making a short flow chart for you to remember everything, right? Don't worry, I'm here to help you. Now, the book 1 and 21 and 24 opens with the revenge and reunion. Now, the contest, the suitors fail the test, but Odysseus still is in disguise. Okay, now Odysseus is still in disguise. You know what happens between this thing is uh, the suitors make fun of that beggar, and he even there is another real beggar with whom Odysseus has to fight because the suitors find it very amusing that two beggars must fight. Now the contest takes place, all the suitors fail miserably. Odysseus is the only one who succeeds, but he has still not revealed. He is still in disguise. Now the battle takes place. Now we are heading towards the ending of the novel. Odysseus reveals his identity. Finally, he reveals his identity with Telemachus, Eumaeus, and Athena's help. He kills all the suitors. Now we are aware that Athena is all throughout him. She's helping him, disguised itself, but she is helping him throughout. Whether she's praying to God Zeus to help him get relief of his burdens, or whether it's a battle, Athena's presence is always observed. What does it tell? It tells us of an important theme of the connection of the mortal being with the immortal, that is the God. I'll tell you all the themes in detail. Reunion with Penelope happens. Penelope tests Odysseus. Now, Penelope is so disheartened that she does not believe that if it is Odysseus or not. She tests him by asking him to move their bed, which he knows is immovable because there is the bedroom of Penelope and Odysseus has a bed that Odysseus himself has carved. Penelope asks Odysseus to test him. She actually wants to test whether it's Odysseus or any supernatural element. So Odysseus says that it's I have made this bed. How can you even remove it? So she's convinced of his identity and she embraces, that is, hugs him. Right? The peace is restored. Odysseus visits his father's Laertes. Now he is not a dead person. Okay, although his presence has been overshadowed throughout the novel, but he is still alive and he visits his father. Athena intervenes to prevent further bloodshed. Why is this further bloodshed happening? Because one battle has already took place in which Odysseus has killed all the suitors. So the suitors kingdom has come in Ithaca to fight against Odysseus and Telemachus, that how can come you can kill our princes and kings. But Athena intervenes in between, she prevents that bloodshed, and there is peace again restored in Ithaca. Now, what are the important themes in the Odyssey? Now, with this, the tale ends. There are very important themes in this Odysseus. The first one is the struggle for homecoming. Okay, this is the term that we use. If you remember it, do write it in your exams. The central theme of the Odysseus is Odysseus' journey to return home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. The struggle symbolizes the universal desire for belonging and hardship one must endure to reunite with loved ones. Now, the journey of homecoming is like the universal desire. Who doesn't want to come to their home? Everyone wants to. It's the desire for belonging to one's homeland and the hardships that one must endure to reunite with loved ones. Odysseus' determination to reach home, despite divine obstacles, reflects the human resilience, the human perseverance it reflects. The fate and free will are another important theme. It explores the balance between fate as well as the free will, right? While the gods play a significant role in shaping events, Odysseus' intelligence, choices, and actions ultimately determine his success. Athena's guidance aids him, but his wit and bravery are what save him in critical moments. You cannot say that it's completely fate and it's completely Athena because of which he has been saved. It's his own wit and bravery as well that has saved him in very critical moments, such as escaping Polyphemus. He blinded him, such a huge monster he was, right? Loyalty and devotion. Now, loyalty and devotion, Penelope is the perfect epitome of it. Why so? Because loyalty is a very reoccurring theme that has been seen in both human and divine relationships. First, I told you it's Penelope's loyalty. Despite being surrounded by many suitors, she remains faithful to Odysseus. It's been 20 years. Anyone could have been carried off. But she is the one who remains loyal throughout the poem. Telemachus' loyalty is another theme in this story because he embarks on a very tough journey to find his father. That shows his devotion towards him. The servants as well, the swineherd of and the Odysseus' old dog. The Argos is the old dog. His role is not much here, so that's why it isn't in the main summary. But the swineherd, he is unwavering, showing his loyalty. Even after years of absence, he hasn't submitted to any other suitor or king. Odysseus' loyalty. Now, Odysseus' loyalty is another theme because he met many beautiful people and many beautiful limbs and women, but he is not influenced. He still wants to return to his home. The familial love drives him back to his home, and he overcomes every obstacle for the family's sake. Now, hospitality. Hospitality plays a crucial role. The Greeks placed great importance to hospitality. Now, good ghosts like Phaeacians, they offer Odysseus help as well as gifts. In contrast, the bad hosts like Polyphemus and the suitors, they abuse hospitality and they are punished. This theme highlights that the societal values of mutual respect and generosity. So, hospitality is an important theme, is not only in this Odyssey but also in the Greek values, right? The revenge and justice. Now, revenge is a very central force in driving the story. We all know that it's the Polyphemus blindness that has led Poseidon to take revenge upon Odysseus. He punishes Odysseus for have done wrong to him, particularly the suitors who dishonor his household. Now, Odysseus also takes revenge on the suitors who have dishonored his household and shown disrespect to his wife. It underscores the idea of justice and retribution in Greek culture. Now, Greeks believe that whoever has done wrong will face wrong in future, and even divine people, yani the Athena as well as the Zeus helped him to take revenge. The role of women, okay, we know Penelope, the loyal Penelope, the cunning Zeus, and the nurturing Athena. She represents fidelity. Fidelity is basically loyalty, and she's an ideal Greek wife as well. Calypso and Sissy, they reflect the challenges posed by seductive and powerful women. ठीक है. Athena, she acts as a protector as well as guide. You need to prepare a short note on Athena as well. How is Athena helpful in bringing Odysseus back to homecoming, right? The power of cunning over strength is another theme in the novel. Odysseus is celebrated not only for his physical strength but also for his intelligence in the way he tackled the problems. His resourcefulness, how he utilized the minimum resources and returned back to his home. His ability to outwit enemies. His cleverness to help him escape dangers such as devising the Trojan horse, blinding Polyphemus, and surviving. Okay, there are many events in which his cleverness has helped him escape danger rather than his muscular strength. Okay, also the temptation and self-discipline. Now Odysseus and his crew, they repeatedly faced temptations. Okay, that derailed their journey. The lotus eaters, okay, the fruit that makes the men forget their purpose, okay, the siren song that lures the sailors to their doom. Okay, they wanted to abandon his quest. Matlab, there was a point when Odysseus got so distracted that he wanted to abandon his quest because of these people. But these temptations and this power of self discipline helped him overcome all of it. Now, the divine intervention all throughout it, I told you, Athena has constantly aided Odysseus as well as Telemachus. Okay? Whilst on the same hand, Poseidon, he has hindered Odysseus' journey in revenge for blinding Polyphemus. I believe now by this time you must have recalled all the names and you are able to get a track of this journey, right? Now, the identity and recognition, you know, that the return journey to Thaka, involves the reclaiming his identity. He was disguised as a beggar, okay? The theme of recognition is pivotal in the reunion scenes with Telemachus, Penelope, and the he's the father of basically Odysseus. Okay, so identity is one thing. Why is he keeping his identity away from his family members? Because he wants to test who has been loyal in behind his presence. He doesn't know his wife has been honest or not. He even keeps it secret from him. But it's because to test everyone, the identity and the recognition theme plays a crucial role to test the real colors of people. At last, I'm giving you some quotes that you need to remember for including them definitely in your answers. If not, then remember them as who has said them, because there are reference to context questions as well for your 10 markers. Of all the creatures that breathe and move upon the earth, nothing is bred that is weaker than men. This dialogue has been said by Zeus, and the context of it is the vulnerability of humans. In the face of divine forces and fate, it underscores the moral struggle in a world controlled by gods. There is a time for many words, and there is also a time for sleep. It is said by Odysseus. He says that to Phaeacians as he concludes his tales. It emphasizes his practicality as well as his understanding in the balance of life. Few sons are like fathers, most are worse, few better. This is said by Athena, who was disguised as Mentor in the very starting of the novel. She encourages Telemachus to rise above the suitors and emulate Odysseus. She wants that Telemachus should move out, look for his father. It also highlights the theme of legacy as well as personal growth, as Telemachus is the first one to move out because he has always been stayed in a protected environment. But this is the first time because of someone's push, Telemachus moves out. So if there's a question on Telemachus, you should include that Athena is the first one who has encouraged him to move out. Okay? So surrender to sleep at last. What a misery. Keeping watch through the night, wide awake. The speaker is Athena and she has said it to Odysseus. She is basically reassuring Odysseus as he prepares for the final battle against the suitors. Okay? Sing to me of the man, The muse, the man of twists and turn. This is the narrator. We don't know who's the narrator, but the opening line of the epic introducing Odysseus, he's a clever as well as a resourceful hero. It sets the tone for the story's exploration of the journey. You should remember this quote. It was a very good quote if you want to begin your answers with it. What if his father, or what if his great father, came from the unknown world and drove these men like dead leaves through the palace? This is said by Telemachus. The Telemachus expresses his longing for Odysseus' return to restore order. This reflects the theme of justice and yearning for a protector. By hook or by crook, this peril too shall be something that we remember. Odysseus has said it while motivating his crew, showcasing his optimism and resolve to face the challenges. My fame has reached the skies. The speaker is Odysseus. He has introduced himself to the Phaeacians and he is proud of his heroic deeds. It also highlights his ego. You know, he has hubris in him. Most Greek heroes do have it. So, when defining the character of Odysseus, you can use these instances that while he was introducing himself to the king, even for help, he started quoting that my fame has reached the skies. Or while revealing his name, he told his name bluntly while he should haven't done that. Okay, these things make the important part of his character sketch. For a friend with an understanding heart is worth no less than a brother. This is also said by Odysseus. He values loyalty and understanding in relationships, reflecting the importance of bonds, even in the face of adversity. You may have your skills in bows, but mine is greater by far. Odysseus says this poignant statement to the suitors. As Odysseus strings the bows, he asserts his dominance, reclaiming his identity and preparing to restore the order. With this, I come to the end of the detailed summary of Odyssey. By now, you know the character sketch, the important themes, the chapter wise summary, as well as the quotes. What I'll advise you is I'll be pinning up this PDF. Just go through it once or twice. Whatever thing you fail to understand, just drop a comment. I'll try to resolve it at the earliest. I'll also try sharing the PYQs of it sooner or later. Keep preparing. All the very best.